Crime that involves more than one country in one way or another is known as transnational crime.
Those crimes that tend to transcend nations and jurisdictions just by their nature, such as human trafficking, sex trafficking, money laundering.
The crime could be planned in one country, executed in another, and then impacts a third.
Let's say with sex trafficking or human trafficking, they're trafficked in from somewhere. Money laundering or other types of financial fraud or bank fraud. That happens usually, there's a transfer of funds from one jurisdiction to another.
Attorney General Denise George has recently returned from a conference held in Accra, Ghana, to share strategies in fighting transnational crime.
So the conference that we attended was a result of being invited along with 5 other attorneys general throughout the United States to participate in a collaboration and a discussion regarding the transnational crime throughout the nation, in particular in Africa.
The conference, entitled Tackling the Reality of Transnational Crimes in Africa, was held in March. The AG is a member of the AGA, or the Attorney General Alliance, and the delegation was invited to participate in presentations, workshops, and panel discussions. Based in the United States, the Attorney General Alliance consists of 18 Western states and Pacific territories and dozens of associate member states from across the country, with the ability to draw on the expertise, involvement, and support of over 2,000 legal professionals consisting of attorneys general, prosecutors, law enforcement officers, and subject matter experts. The other participants included AG Aaron D. Ford of Nevada, AG Carl Racine of District of Columbia, AG Keith Ellison of Minnesota, AG Kwame Raoul of Illinois, AG Letitia James of New York, and Chief Deputy AG Natalie Ludway of District of Columbia. Some of the topics of the conference included counterfeit food and drugs in Africa, corruption, cybercrime, human trafficking, and modern-day slavery.
A very significant theme dealt with public corruption, because public corruption is a type of crimes that actually fosters or flourishes or causes these types of transnational crimes to flourish. If a government or if lawmakers aren't vigilant in abiding by or upholding the rule of law under the laws, then these types of crimes will flourish.
Well, fortunately, in the U.S. Virgin Islands, we have very, very strong laws against human trafficking as well as against criminal enterprises. And those laws allow for the Attorney General to take action against entities, not only persons, but civilly and criminally.
Part of my presentation dealt with our laws that address human trafficking as well as criminal enterprises in the Virgin Islands. We tend to have very strong laws that combat criminal enterprises and human trafficking, child sex exploitation, etc. So they were very interested in learning about the various tools that we can use that is afforded to the Attorney General and to law enforcement in order to enforce and to combat those types of crime.
From today, we will increase and start communications, profound communications through delegations between Ghana and the Virgin Islands in culture, education, and economic development.
In the Virgin Islands, themes of liberation, freedom, restorative justice, and resilience are celebrated during the 3rd week in May. Governor Albert Bryan declared by proclamation VI African Heritage Week and VI African Liberation Day on May 25th.
It's so important that we here in the Virgin Islands understand that we cannot exist in a vacuum. Transnational crimes have hit here before, and it's here now as well. And we have to not think merely locally. We really have to think globally when we talk about enforcement of crimes, and we have to collaborate. These days, with the internet, and other, all sorts of means of communications and ability to conduct transactions over the internet. These days, illegal and illicit transactions can occur with a click of a button from one jurisdiction to another, from one nation to another, and it's all a part of the same criminal enterprise. So even though it may hit here and it's occurring here, it started and is connected to places other than here. And that's why it's so important that we, in going forward, think globally, think internationally in addressing the crimes.